The Pokemon anime's Rayquaza Rising arc continues with some major reveals. With the origins of the legendary Pokemon trainer uncovered, Liko's new capture, and the Rising Voltacular's intense battle against Entei, their journey has just taken an exciting new twist. Here's what's happening in Pokemon Horizons. Episode 74, The Three Explorers. Liko's grandmother, Diana, has finally returned, and you know what that means? We're about to get a crazy lore drop. But first, Diana challenges Liko to a battle to gauge how much she's grown since her absence. While the animation wasn't anything special, the battle itself was solid, showcasing how far Liko has come as a trainer. Unlike their last battle, where Liko barely managed to land a hit with Roy's help, this time Liko confidently takes on Arcanine alone. She's developed her own battle style and even works around Floragato's fire weakness. Diana doesn't hold back either, which highlights just how much stronger Liko has become. The moment Liko terrestrializes Floragato and uses Magical Leaf on Arcanine's paws to trip it up was clever. There was no way she could have tanked the Flare Blades head on, so this was a smart move. And after what felt like forever, Liko finally gets a legitimate win. But as good as the battle was, the real meat of the episode lies in Diana's revelations. She drops some major truths about the explorers, revealing that Lucius was their founder 100 years ago. After learning about the modern explorers from Hamber, Diana embarked on a journey to uncover more about their origins. She discovered records of the original three explorers, Lucius, Rystal, and Gibeon. This was a mind-blowing reveal, made even more satisfying by how it ties together the clues scattered throughout the series. For instance, Rystal is revealed as the person Lucius spoke to in the Cleavor flashback, and Liko recognizes Gibeon as Amethio's grandfather because of their cave encounter. Diana also learns that Gibeon is the head of the Exceed Company, Friede's former workplace, where he discovered their research on Laquium. This helps the gang piece together the explorer's ultimate goal, obtaining Laquium from Laqua. Liko then proposes meeting Rystal at the Crystal Pool, and shockingly, it actually works, because who needs Briar? Or Briar, whatever, some people got mad at how I pronounced it. Through Rystal, we learned that Terapagos was her partner, not Lucius's, and its nickname is Pagogo. Conveniently, Rystal was also sent along with her baby, which is actually Diana's mother, connecting everything and revealing that Lucius is Liko's great-great-grandfather. I'm sure we all saw this coming, but the confirmation is still incredibly cool. This episode expertly ties up many mysteries, while leaving a few unanswered to keep things intriguing. It's a fantastic payoff for the lore that we've been accumulating so far. This episode's rating is an 8 out of 10. This video is sponsored by Marvel Strike Force, an epic squad-based RPG where you can assemble the ultimate team of Marvel heroes and villains to battle iconic enemies and save the multiverse. With characters like Spider-Man, Deadpool, Thor, and Captain America, the possibilities are endless. And if you're new, you can unlock up to 17 characters during your first 30 days of play. Marvel Strike Force has something for every player. Whether you love campaigns, alliance wars, or testing your team in PvP modes, the game offers endless fun and strategy. The Team Synergy system lets you combine unique abilities from your favorite Marvel factions, like the Avengers and X-Men, creating powerful and tactical squads. Here's the best part. Marvel Strike Force has an incredible free character giveaway this December. By using the promo code DEC24, you'll unlock Captain Carter, Star-Lord T'Challa, and Doctor Strange Heartless absolutely free. That's 100 Captain Carter shards, 50 Star-Lord shards, 1,440 level 2 training modules, and 360,000 gold to power up your roster. Click the link in my description or scan my QR code to download Marvel Strike Force today and kickstart your roster with some free rewards. Episode 75. The future we've been entrusted, the shine of this world. This episode is huge, finally delivering the backstory of Lucius. It begins from Rystal's perspective, where she's being chased for her Terapagos, but in comes Lucius with his black Rayquaza to scare off the attackers. What a Chad. This is how the two meet, and after learning about Lucius's dream to find the mysterious land of Laqua, Rystal joins his journey. This flashback adds a ton of context to what we've seen before, including how Lucius met his hero Pokemon, and even how he met Gibeon, forming the original explorers. When they finally reach Laqua, things take a dramatic turn. Although it appears to be a paradise filled with legendary Pokemon, it's also home to Laquium. At first, they notice Laquium's strange effects on the environment. It helps plants grow rapidly, but causes them to wither just as fast. Lucius wants to leave it alone, but Gibeon, who's fascinated with its energy, tries to harvest it. This causes the Laquium to spread uncontrollably, threatening the entire world. What follows is an epic moment where all of Lucius's Pokemon, as well as Gibeon's Zygarde, fight to stop the spreading Laquium. Even Zygarde's cells aren't enough to contain it, leading to a fissure that swallows Gibeon. Oh, rest in peace, wow. To prevent further disaster, Terapagos enters its Rystal form, sealing both Lucius and the Laquium to stop the spread. In the process, Terapagos splits its power among Lucius's Pokemon, transforming into its hibernated pendant form. Now, as amazing as this flashback was, it did feel a little bit rushed. For instance, how did Lucius and Gibeon end up with shiny legendaries? Seeing how Lucius started with Black Rayquaza is mind-blowing, and I just want more details. The friendship between Lucius and Gibeon also feels underdeveloped. Gibeon's betrayal would have hit a lot harder with more build-up. However, the mystery of Gibeon's survival hints at more backstory from him in the future. So there's that to look forward to. Rystal's decision to leave Laqua was to protect her and Lucius's child. It makes perfect sense. It also explains why Lucius's story was hidden, as Rystal didn't want anyone else to suffer. Also, the reveal that Diana didn't know about her grandmother because Rystal died young, possibly due to the effects of Laquium, also adds another layer of tragedy. But despite its bittersweet tone, the episode ends on an optimistic note as Rystal entrusts Terapagos to Liko, who officially catches it. With the mystery of his past resolved, Pogogo can now look forward to a brighter future with Liko. This episode's rating is a 9 out of 10. Episode 76. Why not, right? In the search for Entei, the next hero Pokemon, Friede decides to contact Wright, a former member of the Rising Voltaclers who Molly absolutely hates, for reasons that quickly become clear. While waiting for Wright, Liko, Roy, and Dot explore the area and encounter a raging Farigiraf. After a chaotic battle, they manage to subdue it, inadvertently catching the attention of Wright himself. Wright is introduced as a Pokemon journalist, and to Dot's surprise, he's the writer behind an occult magazine she enjoys. However, there's a catch. Wright is wildly unreliable. He spins stories so absurd that you can't tell what's real and what's fiction. Personally, I found Wright incredibly annoying. And maybe that's the point? Throughout the episode, the gang tries to ask him about Entei, but he constantly interrupts them with made-up tales, proving himself to be a certified yapper. He even invents ridiculous stories about the Rising Voltaclers crew, though the one about Ludlow being a superhero is actually true. That was a fun moment, especially since the kids were fed up by then, and it is the most outlandish out of the stories he's told. It was a clever way to hint that not all of Wright's tales are made up. Now, despite my annoyance with Wright, his interactions with Molly were the saving grace of this episode. Their dynamic is hilarious, and through him, we finally get some insight into Molly's past. We see a flashback to when Molly was more Nurse Joy-like, naive, and prone to falling for Wright's lies. Honestly, I totally understand why Molly hates this dude. It's interesting to see how much she's evolved since then. While her Nurse Joy look was cute, her current cool and edgy style is way more fitting. The rest of the episode, however, felt kinda lackluster. There's a subplot about a turf war between Farigiraf and Espathra, which gets resolved quickly once they get water. It wasn't particularly engaging. And the running joke of Wright dodging questions about Entei was just frustrating. In the end, they finally get through to him, and he reveals a recent Entei sighting near Olivine City. So with that, they're off to their next destination in Johto. But honestly, if this was really all that we needed from him, then this episode could have just been an email. This episode's rating is a 5 out of 10. Episode 77. Ludlow returns home. The gang arrives in Johto's Olivine City in search of Entei, and we learn that it's actually Ludlow's hometown. Finally, some Ludlow focus again. There's a funny and bittersweet moment where Ludlow reacts to how much his home has changed since he's left. While it's a little sad to see him come to terms with the passage of time, it's also wholesome to see him get excited about some of the new places. The group eventually meet an old man who runs a boat rental shop and is a massive fan of the Versus Sharpedo series, starring, wait, is that a young Ludlow? Dude was absolutely shredded back then. It's so cool to see Ludlow in his prime and how awesome he was. I also like how Roy points out that the actor might be Mighty G, but the old man refuses to accept that his hero might be old now. I mean, excuse me, like yourself? This ties into a nice theme for the episode, how things change over time, and that's okay. Meanwhile, there's a subplot involving the ship's Tatsugiri causing chaos by messing with Murdoch's sushi tub. Things escalate when the Tatsugiri end up overboard and get caught in a whirlpool. Oh yeah, the gang are in the World Islands now, by the way. The Tatsugiri drama isn't super serious, especially since they're water types, but it sets up the perfect moment for Mighty G to make a triumphant return. If only the old man would let Ludlow transform. Eventually, Quagsire's appearance distracts the old man, allowing Ludlow to don his Mighty G persona for an epic, over-the-top rescue. Just like before, the scene is both ridiculous and cool. It's also nice to see the old man finally recognize his hero and realize that even though Mighty G has aged, he's still just as incredible. Little does he know that he's been hanging out with his idol the whole time. As for Entei, the old man actually shares that someone recently rented a boat from him and spotted the legendary Pokemon. With this new lead, the gang prepares for the next hero encounter. Overall, this episode was fine. Nothing crazy, but definitely better than the last one. It was just nice to explore Ludlow's past, and to see how cool he used to be. Oh, excuse me, he's still cool now. This episode's rating is a 6 out of 10. Episode 78, Fierce Fighting Entei, War Cry of Flames. After following several leads, the Rising Volt Tacklers have narrowed down Entei's location. It was cool to see them map out the sightings and predict his next move, reminiscent of tracking legendaries in the games, although I hate that. The prediction points to a volcano, so they visit a nearby mountainous island to investigate. While there is no volcano here, they do find a beached Huntail, which first seems kinda random but turns out to be a crucial clue. Huntail, which are usually found deep underwater, had to surface for a reason, an underwater volcano that's about to erupt. This dedication to detail is such a clever touch. Once the eruption occurs, forming a new island, the gang heads closer, and Entei finally appears. This time, Friede and Cap join Liko, Roy, and Dot, making for an exciting dynamic. Now that the trio has grown stronger, they aren't as helpless as they used to be, and do a great job at supporting Friede. Still, Cap proves to be the crew's MVP, tanking a sacred fire from Entei to protect Crocolore and staying on his feet. What a badass. Liko and Dot hold their own fairly well, but Roy and Crocolore clearly struggle the most. However, I like how their frustration fuels the power of Stomping Tantrum. Though the gang isn't strong enough to defeat Entei, they do manage to earn its respect, which signals their progress. Or so it seems. The episode pulls a massive curveball. This isn't Lucius's Entei, but just some random one from a legendary beast trio. What a twist. This was hinted nicely, as Pagogo didn't resonate with this Entei and Lucius's other Pokemon didn't even react. While this lead turned out to be a dead end, Briar reveals another Entei sighting, this time in Area 0. Finally, Briar does something useful. The idea that the real Entei might be waiting in Area 0 is exciting, especially since after the episode we got a trailer revealing Gouging Fire, possibly hinting that this was Lucius's Pokemon. But is that really the final hero Pokemon? I say that because we very clearly see Entei in the flashback episode, but that could have just been a misdirect. I mean, to be fair, that was 100 years ago, and maybe Rystal couldn't make the distinction between Entei and Gouging Fire. Only time will tell. Either way, this twist was fantastic, and it sets the stage for an exciting expedition to Area 0. And if that wasn't enough of a twist, we learned that Crave, you know, Friede's former boss at Exceed, is actually Amethyal's father, which perfectly explains the company's ties to Gibeon and the Explorers. Things are only gonna continue to get more interesting from here. This episode's rating is an 8 out of 10.